Piece of wood. It's important to realize that your piece of wood, you've got a top and a bottom. If your wood is upside down, the back is going to be on an angle. Okay? You want your back straight up and down. So make sure that that's straight up, that's your bottom, that's your top. Once you get that done, you've got your pieces cut out. Okay? Lay your piece, your pattern on top of your wood. Hold it in place with a little bit of tape. You don't need a lot of tape, just a little tiny bit to hold it there. And have it as far back as you can. Don't worry if there's extra at the front, that's okay. Lay your side pattern on so that it's even with the bottom, because that's going to be for your wheels. And you're not using a lot of tape, just a little bit. And then what you're going to do is trace it. Remember, one person has cut out the entire pattern, and you're going to use that one pattern for both cars. I'm going to use a marker instead of a pencil because it's going to be easier for you guys to see. So then you're just going to take and trace it. I'm going really quick here. You're going to take a little more time. And the same on the side. Don't forget to mark where the wheels go. And what you're going to do with this drawing afterwards, or your pieces of paper, is keep them. Okay. So there we go. Okay, so those are going to go in your notebook. Same with the top. Okay, and I'm just going to touch that up a little bit. Your wheel holes, mark those. So we've got our wheel hole pattern, got our top pattern. Okay, you don't need to do it on the other side or on the bottom because when the blade cuts, it's going to go all the way through anyway. Okay, questions? All right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to drill the wheel holes first. So we need what's called a drilling jig on here. That gets put into place and held tightly. The bottom of your dragster goes tight against that block. Okay, that's going to make sure that every single wheel hole is drilled at the same height. You also want to make sure, or when you are drilling, if the drill bit doesn't land right on your dot, that's okay. Okay, as long as that's tight in there and this hole or that bit's in the vicinity, you're fine. You guys used the drill press last year, so you should be okay. Hold onto your wood tightly, flip the switch on, bring the bit all the way through, and then up, slide it, and do your second one. And shut it off. If it lifts up your dragster, shut it off. Okay? But hold on to this because you really want to make sure that stays tight against this block. Okay, questions? Okay. Okay, now normally, again, I wear face shields for everything, but I don't because it muffles my voice too much. What's our saying with our bandsaws in terms of safety and things that are painted red?
Don't touch red. It's dead.
Red is dead, thank you. So anything painted red, these two things, anything painted red you're not touching, because that will adjust your blade. Gray is okay to use. So we're going to, with the blade stopped, we're going to hold our fingers there, loosen the gray handle, and lift. Where should this guard be? Just barely above your wood. Lock it in place, okay? The only way you're going to cut your finger is if you put your finger into the blade here, or if when you're cutting, your finger is in line with where you're cutting. Keep your fingers away from that, okay? Always know where your fingers are in relation to the blade. I'm going to raise this up so you can see what I'm doing, but you should not have that much space. Okay? All right. So when we cut, we leave the line. We're going to cut on the outside of the line. Some people may want to put a dotted line all the way around the outside. That's up to you. please remember the bandsaw cannot make a fast turn. So if you're cutting and you need to turn it quickly, don't. Take your time to do a gradual curve. I'm going to start by cutting the side view. Okay, so I want to cut the side view first. Button on. There is a handle right here that you can put in the back to help guide that car. This handle keeps your hands away from the blade. I highly recommend you use it. Otherwise, your hand is very close to the blade. Okay, take this piece, put it aside. Now do the bottom if you're cutting the bottom. Okay, so I've got my dragster cut. What do you see is the problem? Top's gone. Okay, so remember I told you, save this. So here's what we do. We actually reassemble everything. And the bottom piece, you want to put that bottom piece back on because that just adds some stability. And now you're going to take a piece of tape and tape everything together. I have some in my hand. I'm going to use green tape just for visibility. So I'm going to tape the bottom piece back on, like that. And like that. Now, we're going to take a piece of tape. Remember I said to you that where the wheels are, you cannot remove any material. Remember that? Okay? So the tape is going to help you with that. You're going to put the tape over the wheel hole, across the bottom, up the other side, back across. So the tape is going to do two things. It's going to hold the top in place, and it's going to remind you not to cut there. The secret is, don't cut the tape. Same on the back. You want to make sure that top is held on tightly, because if it's not, it's going to wobble, your blade's going to move, and that's not going to be good. Okay, so that's on there now. I'm going to put an extra piece on there just to make sure it's extra secure. But if you put the tape over the wheels, and then don't cut. Okay, so you're not cutting the tape. You're not cutting where those wheels go. When you go to cut the top view, you need to raise the guard up above the highest point, which means that when you're cutting down here, you've got a lot of blade exposed. Watch your fingers. Okay, so we're going to lower that a little bit. Okay, again, follow your lines. Like so. Now I'm going to come in here. Don't try and cut up beside the tape. Handle. 1. 2. Cut the ends. Okay, once that's done, simply take your tape, take your tape off, and abracadabra, you've got your car. Okay? Please remember, guys, the blade will cut wood as easily as it will cut fingers, or vice versa. Keep your fingers away from the blade at all times. Any questions on the bandsaw? If you're nervous, come see me. I'll be here with you while you cut. I'm not going to do the cutting for you. You will do the cutting, but I'll be right here with you. Questions on this? Okay. Okay, disc sander spins around 30 times a second. The red half you're not using.
Red's dead.
Red's dead. We're going to use this half. The reason we're using this half is as that's spinning, if you use this half, it's going to pick up your wood. It's also going to send all the dust up into your face. You're not going to be able to use a lot with the disc sander. So we turn it on. Dust collector normally on. Okay, so do your sanding. Get what you can. Always holding it flat on the table. But do not sand beside the wheel. You sand beside the wheel, your car is dead. Okay, you're going to have to start over. Make sure that you stay away from the wheel parts. I can't get a lot with this. What I can't get with this one, I can get with the belt sander. So we have a small disc here, but the belt is going to be your best friend. On switch is on top. Okay, here you can hold this up in the air if you want. Move it back and forth. Okay, so get what you can. Okay. It's nice because you can actually use this to round over your edges. Okay. Again, make sure that your dust collector is on. What you can't get with those two, we have this one. Spindle sander. Goes round and round and up and down. Hold the wood flat on the table. Switch it into the spindle. Keep it moving. Don't put too much pressure on. Let the machine do the work. Okay? If it takes you a little longer, it takes you a little longer. Always go against the rotation. That's spinning this way. So I'm pushing against the rotation. If I go with the rotation, I'm not getting anywhere. You also need to hold on to your wood, because if you don't, it's going to zing it. Okay? So we don't want that happening. Finally, what you can't get with these three, you might be able to get with this one. So this is our big belt sander. And it's going to help you get into these curves here. Get all of those spots. There is a small disc here on the front that you can use. But really, where you're going to find this useful is to get in these spots, these curves. Okay. Dust collector on for that, and again, face shields with everything. If you run into problems, ask for help. Any questions? Go.